All right, delighted to say that Irish athletes Gina Akpe Moses and Joseph Ojewumi are with us now. You're very welcome, folks. Thanks a million for taking the call.
Hiya.
Thanks for having us.
Gina, we might start with you because you've already been speaking to Arthur O'D for OTBsports.com. It's a fantastic piece. It's worth checking out. But I might just start with what happened last week in Minneapolis with the video of George Floyd and how that went viral. I'd just love to hear what your initial thoughts were upon seeing that video.
When I saw it on my timeline on Twitter, I did not watch the full video. I couldn't watch the full video. Like, I just saw probably like the first couple seconds of it, and I was like, okay, I know how this is gonna end. I don't want to watch the full video. I don't like seeing that kind of stuff. So I just kind of like skipped it and looked at the comments just to see what actually happened. But yeah, it was disgusting to see because like it's not the first time and it hasn't been the last either, even since he has died. So it was quite frustrating and like it's just enraging people even more and more. So yeah.
I think that was an emotion shared by a lot of people, that this is not the first time. It's possibly the most shocking incident that a lot of people will have seen recently. And I think that's probably the reason why this has exploded so much, that while we all realised that this sort of thing has been happening forever, I don't think many people were left without being shocked by the specific content of the video.
Yeah, definitely.
What was your response then to, or what were you thinking when the protests started to develop and there was such an unbelievable reaction to this? Because I think that probably surprised people as well, just how everything exploded after this and there was such a show of solidarity thereafter.
Yeah, I think it's just very like relieving that like it's like we're finally, not just America, but like the whole world is getting involved, and it's not just they're about, because we know there's Black people everywhere. It's not just America that they resonate, like they're all over the place. So I think it's good that like we have protests in Dublin, protests in London, in France, like in New Zealand, even in Japan and all them kind of places. Like it's like everyone is like standing up for us, because it's not just that like we've been left in the dark for so long, and people think that like, you know, because everyone's gotten used to how racism is and how people act towards Black people, it's like, you know what, it's not that big of a deal. But like to us it is, because we've always had to be bottom barrel. Like it has never been fair for us to just live a normal and like an equal life like everyone else. So the fact that everyone is kind of like joining in now, it just makes it seem as if, yeah, like there's going to be change. It's going to be a turning point in the way Black people are seen in society, and like we will get what we deserve. So
because it is quite easy for us in Ireland especially to point fingers at the United States, especially because it is such an outward culture of racism that they have in the United States of America. It's actually far more difficult on a number of levels for us to be introspective here in Ireland. Do you think we've achieved that in Ireland and I know you're based in the UK, in Ireland and in the UK, to have actually spent a bit of time over the last week looking at ourselves and how we've also had huge failings in our society when it comes to race?
I would like to believe that, you know, people are now like recognizing, you know, whether they've been like hiddenly racist or openly racist. Like, hopefully like they can realize now that how they can fix it, or they can change their mindset and like see the world through our point of view and not just theirs. Because I think that's also been the issue. Like everyone is just not really like trying to put themselves in our shoes, and hence why they don't know how to really sympathize with us or like even like feel what we feel, because they haven't even tried to think, okay, what would it be like to be a Black person just for the day, or what would it be like when slavery was still on? Because it's like everyone just neglects the facts that, you know, the average Black person does find it harder to get a job, you know, like, you know, when you go shopping, you're being watched because like, oh, are they gonna steal? Like the stereotypes, all that kind of stuff. So I would like to believe that people in Ireland now are like more aware of it, and they will now act accordingly, or do better to help other people that they see who are in need, or who have been like subjected to racism.
What have been your specific experiences of racism in Ireland?
I think it's just been little things like when I would have my natural hair out and they'd be like, oh, Gina, why is your hair so short? And they just start laughing. And like, I'm like, okay, cool. And like I've been told they were surprised that I could speak really good English, and I had a Dundalk accent, like I didn't have an African accent. And I'm just thinking to myself, why would I have a strong African accent when I came here when I was almost 3 years old? I was barely speaking, so how is that even going to work? And then obviously I've been called a nigger before when I was like quite young, by some boy who didn't understand what he was saying, but he said it. So it's like, even the fact that he didn't understand what he was saying, but still knew it was offensive and still said it, that was a problem to me as well. So it's just been stuff like that. And online racism too. After I've competed and got medals, and I had the flag on the wrong way around, and people were like, "Why? That's Ivory Coast. Why do we have her? She's not an Irish person. Like, her name doesn't sound Irish." And I'm like, "Okay, cool. Like, you can keep going, but it's still not going to stop the fact that I still competed and I got a medal for everyone." So, yeah.
Yeah. Does that, obviously that has an impact. Like all of those things combined must have an impact that wear you down over a period of time. How do you not let it have an impact?
I just feel like there's just bigger stuff to deal with. I think I don't, honestly, like, comments. People will always talk, and I'm like, I personally don't have time to dwell on someone's ignorance. If you want to learn, you will go and do your research, and you will learn. If you don't want to learn, I'm not going to try. I'm not going to force you to understand where I'm coming from. I'm not going to force you to be empathetic or sympathetic to me as a Black person. So it's just a case of, it's not down to me, it's down to them at the end of the day. So that's why I just get over it quite easily.
Joseph,
Okay.
Sorry, Jerry. We might just get your view on this, Joseph. What's been your view of racism in Ireland? Have you experienced it firsthand?
Oh yeah, for sure, definitely. Like Gina already said, the one where you're walking into a shop and automatically the security guard comes and starts following you around the shop. Like, I just experienced that just last Saturday with two of my friends, and one of them got really annoyed at it and started like challenging the security guard, asking like, "Why are you following us?" They didn't have an answer, just kept doing it. A lot of it, there's a lot of microaggressions that happens that a lot of Irish people don't see. Like the whole hair thing. They want to touch your hair. They ask you, why do you like watermelon? I mean, like, just because my color of skin looks like this is me, I'm going to automatically like everything that everybody else is black. You know what I mean? Some like blatant ones is like, when I played football a lot, like, you get really heated when you play football, and you annoy somebody, you tackle somebody the wrong way, and the first thing they'll come at you and say is they call you a black bastard, call you the N-word, really blatant to your face, or even take it off the field. Have a regular argument with somebody. The first thing they turn to is to comment about your race. That's the first thing they turn to. They have nothing else to come at you with. And like, that just shows hate, and it shows a lot of disrespect, and they know it hurts, so that's why they'll use it. There's quite a lot. Like, you're gonna have to keep me on this call for a while if you want to hear everything. Like,
it is remarkable that was just last Saturday, especially in the wake of everything that's happened, and like, I guess the ability to stand up to that security guard that you mentioned is something, but like I think what happens is that a lot of people in this country say, well, I haven't seen outward racism, therefore it doesn't exist, which is a completely wrong way of looking at it. And I just hope that this period of time allows us to have conversations like this, Joseph, and actually realise that that is not true, because, as you say, you have an unbelievably lengthy list of things you can mention, of cases you can mention, where when people say, oh, racism doesn't exist in this country, it's just patently incorrect.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Like, yeah, the list is endless, and a lot of people say, like you said, if they don't see it, like, it doesn't exist. And I mean, like, I think they're part of the problem. But I love the fact that so many people get involved. Like, there's so many, like, you can see all the protests everywhere. It's all over social media. So if you still can't, like, have a little inkling of how we feel about this, then that's ridiculous, man. You're just not paying attention. You're being ignorant. Like, but I love the fact that it's getting out there, and just the fact that it's getting out there and people are hearing about it, people are seeing it. Like, it might not make an initial change, but at least it will spark the thought in your mind when you do see it happening. I think that's just a good enough W. Is a good enough win for us now. If everyone now understands that these things happen everywhere in the smallest of ways, I think it makes it a little bit better. It makes it a little bit easier to live, and it makes them a bit more conscious if they want to go out and carry out a racist act. Like,
What would you like to happen in future, Joseph, apart from people thinking that this exists and I guess feeling seen, apart from your neighbors and your friends seeing that you go through these experiences, what else would you like to happen?
Like it to stop, of course. Like I like it to stop. I like people to actually be able to empathize and stand up for me. Like there might be cases where I just can't stand up for myself. I don't know what sort of situation that may be, but there might be a situation where I can't stand up for myself, and someone in a better position can help me out and challenge their own race and talk and just say, yeah, that's not wrong, that's not right. Come on, like fix up, do better. I like it to stop, of course. Like nobody wants to be experiencing racism. Come on, like it's a way to oppress people, and like we don't really feel like that. So the ultimate goal, hopefully, in this lifetime, is for it to stop completely.
The big thing that people have been talking about in America is institutional racism, and in many ways, it's a catch-all term that kind of allows everybody to go, well, it's not actually me who's doing this, it's the institutions, and I'm just a part of that institution, so we need to change the institution. But obviously individuals need to change, and individuals do make up institutions. You know, it's not a building, it's the people who run an organization, or the people who run a society, or the people who run a school or a university, or like it is something that collectively we need to talk about and to hear, I think, the individual examples, because that's the sort of stuff that actually brings it home to us. You being followed by a security guard is the type of thing that everybody would understand is a fairly horrific level of subconscious racism that you're being subjected to. And it's not even the overt stuff. Like, it's the, as you say, the microaggressions that happen on a daily basis that I think that is almost the hardest thing for people to put themselves in the experience of, but equally is the easiest thing for people to understand. How would I feel if that was happening to me? Well, pretty pissed off.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's true. Like you asked, there's a great video that's been going around of this American activist lady, and she asked the crowd would they like to be treated the way that Black society are treated in the States, and she asked them if you want to be treated like the Blacks are, stand up. She repeated it. Nobody stood up. So I think that speaks volumes. And if you were to ask, I don't know if you were to ask Irish people here, they'd like to be treated the way Black people are treated here. I'd be interested to see what they say about that.
I think so. Gina was talking about, how difficult it is to get jobs, and how, we've seen before that the part of town that you live in has an impact on your ability to get jobs and to access medical care and to do all that kind of stuff that, like, again, is taken for granted by so many people. In terms of targeting institutional racism, have you seen anything around the world? Are you seeing anything in your own social media circles where you are hopeful that it is becoming something that the country is waking up to and becoming conscious about?
Sorry, could you repeat that really? I didn't hear you too loud.
Yeah, are you seeing stuff that suggests that we are, as a country in Ireland, becoming more aware of the unconscious racism, the institutional racism, and the sort of stuff that actually we just need to think about?
No, I don't.
I guess, are you hopeful?
I don't really see that happening at all. I don't see anybody doing that right now.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything either, to be honest. Like, I just think people are scared. I think people are scared to stand up for what they know is what's like right. You get it. I don't know. To this, I don't understand why racism is seen as a topic that really gets under people's skin and proper controversial. Like, people are losing jobs for speaking out about how they feel about this, and I'll never understand it, because you blatantly know it's wrong. So why are people getting, like, crucified for agreeing that it's wrong? So I think, like, there's still a lot of work that everyone needs to do. Like, everyone has a lot of work to do. I don't think it's gonna just blow over, in the next, just because it's been made aware now, people are going to stop. People are still going to keep doing it. And I think it's just that, like, Black people in Ireland, we have a smaller community in Ireland, that's the thing. So it's just for us to, like, branch out more and, like, try to get ourselves in a position of power. And, like, until we see more Black people in positions of power, then really and truly, I don't really know if Ireland or any place is going to really change the way it should change. So,
Gina, when you say that people are getting crucified for agreeing that it's wrong, what in particular are you referring to here? Because I think obviously the most prominent example over the last few years has been the Colin Kaepernick situation, who, I mean, obviously has essentially lost his livelihood for speaking out against racism.
I'm just seeing people's small stories online. Like I'm seeing people, like family members, kicking them out of the house because they don't agree with that, because they say racism is wrong. I saw a girl the other day say that she actually lost her job because of she contacted her company and said, you know what, I'm just gonna, like, she posted something and obviously they must have seen it online, and then they messaged her and she lost her job. And also even police officers, a guy who wanted to take the knee and stand up for racism, he also had to leave his job because they were not letting him go and protest. It's just little things like that. Like, you should not be getting in trouble for speaking out. Do you get it? Because you can speak out about other things like LGBT and all that kind of stuff. You don't lose your job. But when it comes to speaking about racism, it's a big hole. It's a problem. Like, it's something that it's really like offending you, and you shouldn't really be offended. If you know it's wrong, it's wrong. Like, there's no two ways about it. Like, you honestly, like, if you read about Black history and how they suffered and how Black people have suffered even till this day, like, for you to now be offended by it, I don't understand that thought process. It doesn't make any sense to me. So,
have you noticed a difference, Gina, in racism from Ireland to the UK?
The only difference is that the UK, they're more open with their racism, but in Ireland, they're more hidden behind. Like, they like to put on a little front that, you know, they are not racist. They're really nice people, and obviously some people are nice people. And I have not saying that everyone's bad, but some people are nice people. But those nice people can also be people that will talk bad behind you, and like they will just throw you under the bus the minute race gets into like something bad happens to you, or they'll blame you or something like that. So I think, or when they get angry, they'll go straight to the race card. So it's a case of like, people do like to hide it, but in the UK, they'll just say whatever they want to say, and it's just what it is. Like, people try to also hide it in the UK, but they're more open with it. So, yeah.
I was listening to Greg Popovich this week saying that not being racist is no longer enough in terms of where we are in the world, that we actually all need to make an effort to be anti-racist. How can that effort be made, Gina, in your view?
How can that effort be made? How to be anti-racist? Lord, I mean, I think people just educating themselves. That's probably the first step. Like, educate yourself. If you don't understand why Black people are so upset and so tired, read on the history and imagine if that's you or your brother, your sister, your mother, like your dad, a cousin, you know, anybody that you hold dearly to your heart. Imagine if that was them or if that was you. Like, just picture how painful it would be. Like, and like, it's like the psychological, emotional, and just like the physical like effects it has on you as a person. It's traumatic. Do you understand? So like, if you can really like delve into the history and educate yourself in the right way, then of course, like that's the first step to anti-racism. That's the first step to like not trying to like blame Black people or stereotyping them, because it's like Black people were we were like shoved into a hole, and we're being like, we want to come out of it, but we're being told no, we're just being kicked back into the hole. Like, we don't put ourselves there. White people brought us and dug up that hole and shoved us into the hole, expecting us to be happy in a dark hole that no one want to be in. So it's a case of like trying to just educate yourself, helping people in the best way possible, and just knowing, like, just checking your moral code and knowing what is right for just basic human rights in general, and trying to fixate on that, and like just there can progress.
Could I add to that? I think you could also just like ask or talk to someone that's Black. Just talk to them, ask them what can they do, because a lot of people don't know what they can do. They don't know what to say. They don't want to say the wrong thing. But like, I feel like a way to educate yourself is just talk to those people who actually go through it. So you see, like you must know someone who's Black. I don't know if you must know somebody. So just find somebody, ask them the questions that bother you, how you can make a difference, how you can be anti-racist, and trust they will help you. Because if they see someone trying to help, I think that's a good step. If they see someone trying to understand, that's a great step. So I say just reach out.
Well said. Listen, Gina and Joseph, it's been great chatting to you. Thanks, million, for taking the call this morning.
All right,
No problem.
thank you.
Thanks very much.
It is 8:57 on this Thursday morning, and I'm delighted to say that former Kilkenny hurler and current Offaly boss Mick Fennelly will join us next on OTB AM this morning to chat about a big fundraiser that's happening with the Offaly hurling squad this weekend. Now, Kelly Harrington joined Joe last night for a feature interview about life in lockdown, the Olympics and training. You can get the full piece through the OTB Sports app right now. And Kelly is saying her diet is much more balanced than people believe.